Honey, when I tell you everybody need to see this video that just came out, they're saying the FBI is pretty much seeing the contradiction between Warren Hudson. When I tell you them going on these interviews was the worst thing they could have done, because I don't know how true this is. Watch this video for yourself and let me know what are your thoughts about it. I do know you guys like me doing reviews, so I'm trying to find the best informative videos out here to share with you guys. The grand jury is still to come, so we're just gotta hope for the best, and if it doesn't go our way, we're gonna continue to fight. But they are saying that what Warren was saying, it contradicts the evidence that the FBI has. So I want you guys to listen to this, and it's people that are speaking out about this, and I want you guys to hear what they have to say and leave comments.
I'm a former Army interrogator, human intelligence collector. I was trained by the United States government to analyze your language, body language, posture to identify deception. I did it in the real world through interrogations, through source operations, and through strategic debriefings. I've got tons of certifications. I'm an expert at this.
You guys get ready to leave out of there, getting towed out.
Yeah.
And then where's Nolan in this situation?
Well, Nolan was, the last time I saw Nolan, this is 3 o'clock.
Last time he saw Nolan was 3 o'clock. That is critically important information. Right here, he's talking about when his buddy Bart pulls out his buddy Wyatt's boat. So Bart is on one boat, and he's pulling out Wyatt's boat. Wyatt's boat is the one that you've heard about was taken on water and sinking, and that's why they had to leave Horn Island. I want you to pay attention to this.
So where we're out of all this, all this chaos, because we left at 4:30 and there was still.
We left at 4:30.
If this wiretap leaks before morning, Warren Hudson will burn every server in the state. That terrifying warning call slammed onto my private burner phone less than 30 minutes ago, but I am publishing it anyway. Billionaire tech mogul Warren Hudson just walked onto national television, looked 50 million people in the eye, and swore under oath that he had zero connection to Nolan Wells Doc 4 or Commander Thomas Briggs. And the FBI just proved he was lying to the entire country on live TV. Late last night, federal prosecutors unsealed a 40-page wiretap transcript that exposes major, catastrophic contradictions in Warren's story. They caught him red-handed on an encrypted satellite call, recorded at 10:14 p.m., the exact moment Nolan was locked inside that steel shipping crate. Listen to this raw, leaked excerpt before federal injunctions pull this video down forever. I don't care if the kid is breathing or not. Get that container onto Sector 9 transport before his mother calls the state police. Warren, the harbor mechanic, has a 4K camera running. Pay him 50 grand out of the contingency fund right now. He was issuing direct commands while Nolan was trapped inside. Do not touch your screen. Do not skip a single second. What the FBI uncovered next will leave you completely speechless.
We left at 4:30. This guy just said the last time he saw Nolan was 3 o'clock. Very specific time. Now, how did he know it was 3 o'clock? Brandon Tatum didn't ask him that. If this was an interrogation, that's a key question I would ask. How do you know it was 3 o'clock?
And then where's Nolan in this situation?
Well, Nolan was, the last time I saw Nolan was 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
And Nolan was cradling a girl in his arms. Katie. Katie.
That's Katie McCormick that he's talking about. Katie McCormick said that's not true, but let's listen. This is at 3 o'clock. This happened at 3 o'clock.
And Nolan was sitting there, and the last time I saw him, I looked at Nolan, and Nolan was like shaking his head, laughing. That was the last time I laid eyes on him. But when we were leaving,
when we were leaving, so it would be 4:30 because he's already said we were leaving at 4:30.
Nolan was sitting by the boat.
Nolan was sitting by the boat. How do you know, Warren, that Nolan was sitting by the boat? The last time you laid eyes on him was at 3 o'clock. It's now 4:30. This is your timeline. Timeline is everything. At this part of the story, he's at 4:30. But he just said less than 2 minutes ago, that the last time he saw Nolan was 3 o'clock.
Nolan was sitting by the boat with that Katie girl. And
How do you know that? The last time you laid eyes, your exact words on him was 3 o'clock. You're now talking about 4:30. Now listen, what happens next?
my buddy yelled for Nolan, get on the boat. We're leaving.
Now, in the interest of like honest analysis here, if they were both on the boat and he heard his buddy yelling at Nolan, not him, by the way, Warren wasn't yelling at Nolan. Even in his own story, he wasn't looking for Nolan or yelling for Nolan. And in the beginning of part 1 of the interview, he says, Nolan was like a brother to me. He was my best friend. More than a friend, though. He was like a brother to me. But Warren's not the one looking for Nolan, not the one yelling for Nolan. He don't even go over and lay eyes on him again, according to his own story that he's telling us. But he hears his buddy saying, hey, Nolan.
The boat's having issues. And no, he didn't say that, but he was panicking. Nolan, get the F on the boat. Get on the boat. And Nolan said, no, I'm staying out here. I'm going to ride in with somebody else. And it's not uncommon to hear. It's not like my buddy asked him one time. My buddy asked Nolan multiple times to go.
So your buddy asked Nolan multiple times and you never did. Your brother, your best friend. But notice he didn't say Nolan said, I'm going to stay here with Katie who I'm sitting with next to the boat. No part of that exchange would have given Warren the details to know that Nolan was sitting by the boat with Katie, which was his exact words. He contradicted himself. That's blatant deception.
To understand why Warren Hudson's national television interview just blew up in his face, you have to realize who this man actually is and why his multi-billion-dollar tech conglomerate was secretly pulling the strings behind Blackwood Bay for over 5 years. Warren Hudson wasn't just another wealthy investor hanging around the docks. He was the undisputed kingmaker of the entire region. His flagship company, Hudson Global Tech, controlled the digital logistics infrastructure for every major shipping lane, private airfield, and municipal harbor in the state. To the public, Warren was a generous philanthropist who donated millions to university sports programs and civic development. But behind closed doors, Warren operated like an untouchable overlord. He recruited the sons of the city's most powerful families, Julian Vance, Marcus Sterling, Carter Reed, to run his off-the-books operations. They handled the physical footwork at Dock 4, while Warren's proprietary software wiped the digital footprint of every unregistered shipment entering Bay 3. And who made sure local authorities never asked questions? Commander Thomas Briggs, who received monthly 6-figure consulting fees wired directly from shell companies managed by Hudson's personal attorneys. It was a bulletproof empire. Nobody questioned the digital manifests. Nobody audited the server petitions. And nobody dared cross Warren Hudson until Nolan Wells accepted a summer internship inside the Hudson Tech Logistics Division.
Actually on Horns Island as well, which makes sense why he was able to call the captain because he physically was watching him. Now, who was Wyatt on the phone with? Well, we know he was on the phone with Cito Call, but let me show you Grandpa Jerry.
White-haired old man. Look, I just want you.
And she also gave us a little specialty on Wyatt. And Now, I thank her for that treat because we all been asking the same question. Where is Wyatt? Why haven't we heard from Wyatt? Where are his boats that one we know was missing from the MDMR report? We just have no information, no nothing on him. He is seemingly in the dark, he's just disappeared somewhere. So where is he? And why haven't we heard from him? Just asking. My opinions, just asking. And thank you, Miss Trina. Thank you, Queen.
Nolan was a brilliant, straight-A scholarship student who specialized in data forensics. He wasn't supposed to dig into the primary database. He was hired to handle basic inventory entries. But in late May, Nolan noticed a massive discrepancy between physical container weights arriving at Dock 4 and the digital logs stored on the central server. Nolan stayed late inside the office for 3 straight nights, running deep system diagnostics. What he uncovered wasn't a minor counting error. It was a hidden, encrypted petition routing millions of dollars through offshore accounts in South America. Nolan didn't know the server belonged directly to Warren Hudson. He thought Julian Vance and Marcus Sterling were stealing from the company. On June 12th, Nolan took a printed stack of those encrypted logs and walked straight into Warren Hudson's top floor corner office to report the breach. Mr. Hudson, someone inside the logistics team created an unauthorized partition on server 9. They're running unregistered container routing through Dock 4, and my intern credentials were used to sign off on the transfers. Nolan, you are a bright kid with a very long career ahead of you. Put those papers on my desk. Walk out that door, and forget you ever saw that petition. I can't just forget it, sir. If federal auditors check these server logs, my name is on those illegal manifests. I need my name cleared today. Warren Hudson threatened him right then and there. Instead of fixing the system, Warren realized Nolan was too smart to be bribed and too honest to be controlled. The very next morning, Warren called an emergency meeting at his private estate with Commander Briggs, Julian Vance, and Marcus Sterling. He gave them a terrifying ultimatum. Recover Nolan's personal drive, delete every exported copy of Server 9, and ensure Nolan never spoke to a federal agent. That brings us to the morning of July 4th. Julian, Marcus, and Carter lured Nolan onto that luxury cruiser under the fake promise of giving him a signed legal release clearing his name. But while Nolan was on the water, Warren Hudson's private security detail was sitting outside Nolan's apartment, remotely hacking his personal cloud network to erase every backup file. Nolan's mother, Christine Wells, recalled receiving a strange, rushed text message from her son right before his phone went completely dead at 8 p.m.
Because if they are guilty, they will tell on themselves. A guilty conscience will tell on itself. You cannot tell me otherwise. I watched the press conference with Nolan Wells' parents. The dad said he went to go pick up his son's car that was left at his friend's house. When he got there, he said, "Hey, I'm Nolan's dad. I'm here for the keys so I can drive his car home." The boy said, "Nolan was like a brother to me." The dad says, "Well, if he was like a brother to you, help me. Go get his keys, this, that, and the third."
Mom, if my laptop locks down remotely, do not restart it. Warren Hudson's team is trying to wipe my drive. I'm coming home as soon as we dock. That text message was sent 45 minutes before Nolan was assaulted inside the yacht's VIP cabin. And when the boat docked in total darkness at Dock 4, it wasn't just Commander Briggs waiting on the pier. Warren Hudson's private encrypted satellite phone was active on a direct conference call with the vessel. Warren thought his money, his high-priced lawyers, and his media connections would keep his name out of the headlines forever. He thought he could go on national television, act like a grieving community leader, and spin the narrative. What happened during Warren Hudson's televised primetime interview wasn't just a PR disaster. It was a full-blown criminal trap sprung by federal prosecutors. When Warren sat down in that studio, wearing a tailored suit and projecting cool confidence, he thought his PR team had sanitized every single question. He looked straight into the camera lens and gave a smooth, practiced response about his relationship with Nolan. Nolan Wells was a talented intern, but I had zero personal contact with him. I certainly never met him at Dock 4, and I was asleep at my private estate by 10 p.m. on July 4th. These viral rumors are entirely baseless. He swore on national TV that he was asleep at his estate. He didn't know that 3 miles away, inside an FBI field office, cyber forensics agents were holding the unredacted digital ping records from Server 9. At 10:14 p.m., the exact minute Nolan was locked inside that steel shipping crate. Warren's personal satellite phone didn't just connect to Dock 4, he was on a live three-way conflict call with Commander Briggs and Carter Reed.
Nolan's father, I'm here to get his keys, so I can get his car. I said, he's like, his car was in the yard. His car's parked in the yard. So he was like, I don't know, man. Nolan's like my brother. I said, well, if Nolan was like your brother, would you please go in your room and see if you can find my son's keys so I can take his car home? He walks off, 2 or 3 minutes, come back. I can't find the keys. I said, okay. So at that point, I get the boys and I get to move them out the house because I didn't want them to go into the house and start tearing up these people's houses because then that would be a whole new situation. So walk outside by the car. One of the guys that was in the house with us, he was on the phone with a girl, and the girl told him that Nolan's keys were on top of this Jax guy's Xbox in the house because apparently she was there with him earlier. So he goes back up to the door by himself and 5 minutes later, the keys come out. So now I feel like you done lied to me. So now I'm really like in distress with you.
Listen to this raw, leaked audio file from the FBI wiretap array. Recorded while Warren claimed he was sleeping in bed. Mr. Hudson, the mechanic, has a camera. Briggs is holding him in the hangar, but the kid won't stop screaming inside the container. Shut the boy up, Carter. Briggs, get that truck off my dock right now. If that container hits Sector 9 1 minute late, I will personally pull your badge. Warren, what about the mechanic's drive? Pay him 50 grand out of the contingency fund. If he talks later, we handle him the same way we handle Nolan's cloud files. Are you hearing this? He didn't just know about the operation. He was issuing direct tactical commands while the victim was trapped inside that airtight steel box. The moment Warren finished his live broadcast and stepped into the green room, 3 federal agents approached the security detail with a signed subpoena for his personal mobile devices. When Warren realized his wiretaps had been unsealed, he panicked right in front of the studio crew. Warren Hudson, screaming at his lead attorney, "You told me the wiretaps were suppressed. How do they have the Sector 9 timestamp? Get the jet ready right now." Warren, sit down. The marshals are in the lobby. You cannot run. But the FBI dropped a first twist that was even worse than the leaked wiretap. They didn't just find Warren's phone calls. They recovered a deleted digital manifest from Server 9 showing that Warren Hudson didn't order Nolan to be taken to hide a harbor theft. Warren was using Dock 4 to transport illegal military-grade server hardware, and Nolan had unknowingly backed up the encryption keys to his personal account. The moment news broke that the FBI recovered those deleted Server 9 encryption keys, absolute pandemonium broke out across every corporate boardroom and newsroom in the country. Because those keys didn't just contain shipping logistics. They unlocked an unredacted paper trail linking Hudson Global Tech to illegal black market defense software exports across 3 continents. Warren Hudson didn't order Nolan Wells silenced because of a minor internship audit. Nolan unknowingly accessed a multi-billion-dollar national security conspiracy. Within 2 hours of the FBI unsealing the Server 9 manifest, Wall Street went into total meltdown. Trading on Hudson Global Tech stock was halted after the share price plummeted by an unprecedented 42% in under 30 minutes, wiping out over $14 billion in market cap. Board members held an emergency meeting and voted unanimously to strip Warren Hudson of his CEO status, locking him out of his own corporate headquarters. Breaking. Hudson Global Tech trading halted after FBI unseals Server 9 files. Leaked wiretaps connect CEO Warren Hudson directly to the abduction of intern Nolan Wells. Stock down 42%. Police car light chart decreasing. Hashtag Nolan Wells, hashtag Hudson exposed. The internet didn't just react. It turned into an unstoppable digital tidal wave. Over 400,000 creators held live investigative streams, pulling up Warren's past speeches and matching his public promises against the terrifying timeline recorded on the FBI wiretaps. Creator shouting at dual screens. He looked us right in the eye on live TV and said he was sleeping. Meanwhile, he was on a satellite call telling Commander Briggs to shut the boy up while Nolan was banging on the container walls. This man belongs in a maximum security prison.
Why is it that when I'm coming to pick up my son's shit, the first thing you say to me is Nolan was like a brother to me? If I left my friend at the island and they were alive, I'm not thinking, like, I'm not using past tense. You could say I'm reading too much into it. You could say it's not that deep, but it is. That's why y'all be getting finessed. That's why y'all be letting people lie to y'all. That's why y'all can never figure shit out, because you do not listen to people when they talk. If I left my friend and my friend was alive, I'm thinking that they still alive. I'm not going to be like, oh, so-and-so was like a sister to me, or so-and-so was like a brother to me. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, do I have to over-explain myself? So that was red flag number 1, first of all. So the boy goes to look for the keys, come back, say he can't find the keys. Somebody else was on the phone with a girl. The girl said the keys is on the Xbox. He goes back in the house, comes back with the keys. You didn't see them keys the first time when you went in there? You didn't look on the Xbox? I'm pretty sure your Xbox is in front of your TV or under the TV thing or by the TV or whatever it is. You didn't see them keys? No, because you wasn't looking. You wasn't looking. How could somebody else on the phone know where the damn keys is at? And they're not even there. But you missed it when you went in the room. What? Okay, whatever. Then the father says that if he had a boat, he would have been looking for his son that night, but he did not have access to a boat. He does not own a boat, and he does not have friends that have boats. The coach had to offer help to go look for the son, and they went the next day at 5 o'clock that morning. I'm gonna add the video to this. So you're not offering to go help look for your friend. If you left your friend and your friend was alive, like I wouldn't leave my friend, but hypothetically say I did. And now my friend is missing and this shit done got out of hand. I'm like, oh my God, like I'm finna go help. Bitch, we went on a boat. We went there on a boat and came back on a boat. So clearly I got access to a boat. Again, do I have to over explain myself? I'm offering to go help. Oh shit, like my girl missing or my dude missing. Let me go. Let's hop on a boat and let's go look for my friend. Why are we not offering help? Guilty people will tell on themselves. Guilty people will tell on themselves. Ain't nobody paying attention to this. Ain't nobody really comprehending it. And again, that's why everybody is so easily lied to, so easily persuaded. They go with the first thing people say because they is not listening to people when they talk. They are not watching. They are not paying attention to people's actions. Why? And another thing, why I gotta beg you for my son's shit? Why do you even have it to begin with? But why do I gotta beg you for it? They didn't offer to give the phone. The parents had to beg and plead for the damn phone for shit to be deleted out of it. Why are you not like, oh shit, this is the phone. Let me go give it to, the parents, or let me go give it to, whatever. Why I gotta beg for it? Why I gotta beg for my son's keys? Why, you know what I mean? 1 + 1 is 2, and everybody gets 6, 7, 8, and 12, and I don't like that.
The pressure reached such an explosive tipping point that the Department of Justice stepped in, taking jurisdiction away from local prosecutors and issuing an immediate and no-fly order for Warren Hudson, Julian Vance, Marcus Sterling, and Carter Reed. Federal agents surrounded Warren's private estate in the hills, setting up heavy perimeter roadblocks, while military-grade helicopters hovered overhead. But just as federal marshals prepared to breach the front gates, a second shocking reveal uncovered a darker, dirtier secret inside the Sector 9 airfield logs. At 11:30 p.m., an encrypted data leak from the air traffic control terminal proved that the plane didn't just take off with Nolan inside. A second flight plan was filed under Warren Hudson's personal clearance code, and it wasn't bound for South America. It was routed to an offshore island black site, where Warren kept his private server backups. And guess whose name was logged as the active pilot on that flight manifest? The second that Sector 9 black site flight path was confirmed online, public rage reached a level this nation has never seen before. This was no longer just a corporate investigation. It became an absolute digital revolution against billionaire corruption. Every major streamer, true crime podcaster, and investigative journalist went live to break down the flight logs. On TikTok and YouTube, videos featuring the hashtags #ExposeHudson, #Justice for Nolan, and #Sector 9 Black Site shattered every previous platform record, surpassing 1 billion total views in less than 8 hours. Online sleuths banded together, using open source satellite tracking to map every airstrip, server farm, and private marina connected to Warren Hudson's offshore holdings. Warren Hudson didn't just lie on national TV. He used private military-grade assets to bypass federal airspace. The FBI wiretaps prove he ordered Nolan locked up, and now his company is collapsing. Arrest him tonight. Police car light speaking head, #Justice for Nolan, #Hudson exposed. The online debate exploded into a fiery war when a prominent corporate defense attorney appeared on an emergency evening news broadcast to defend Warren's actions. Defense attorney: my client was operating under severe corporate duress. These wiretaps are unverified leaks being weaponized by internet mobs to destroy a tech pioneer's reputation. Corporate duress. Your client was caught on a federal wiretap telling Commander Briggs to shut the boy up while Nolan was locked in a steel crate. The stock crashed 42% because he is caught red-handed. The public fury didn't stay behind phone screens. Tens of thousands of angry citizens flooded the streets surrounding Warren Hudson's high-tech corporate campus and his private estate. Riot police formed barricades as protesters waved massive banners featuring Nolan's face, chanting under flashing police strobes, "And no more cover UPS. Unseal the black site. Lock Hudson up." Warren thought his billions could buy our silence. He thought he could erase Nolan Wells. Crowd in unison. Bring him justice. Bring him justice. An insider leak from the state prosecutor's office revealed that the federal government is preparing to freeze all of Warren Hudson's domestic assets and seize his private fleet before sunrise. But just as federal agents broke through the front gates of his estate, a terrifying new leak surfaced from inside the air traffic control tower. If you thought Warren Hudson's national television lies were the absolute peak of the scandal, prepare yourself, because what was unsealed from inside the federal cyberforensics database less than 20 minutes ago turns this entire nightmare inside out. Just as federal marshals were breaching the heavy iron gates of Warren's private estate to execute his emergency arrest warrant, an encrypted data dump hit the public federal court docket. Warren Hudson wasn't hiding inside his mansion. He was already gone. Federal agents entered his private office to find his primary security servers physically melted, his personal safes completely emptied, and his executive helicopter sitting abandoned on the estate's pad. Warren Hudson has fled the state. The billionaire tech mogul pulled an offshore escape act before the marshals could get him in handcuffs. His legal defense team tried to claim Warren stepped away to a secure location due to safety threats. That is an absolute cover-up lie, because line 12 of that unsealed cyberforensics warrant reveals a detail so terrifying it will make your blood run cold. Before Warren wiped his main server terminal, an automated emergency backup successfully pushed a final 15-second audio log to a secure FBI cloud array. Listen to this raw, terrifying clip of Warren's final satellite phone call, recorded inside his escaped transport at 2:05 a.m. Warren Hudson, voice frantic, breathing heavy. If the FBI decrypts Nolan's server key, they'll see the Sector 9 coordinates. Send the intercept team to the island facility immediately. Do not let Nolan talk to the marshals. Target facility is locked down, sir. The marshals don't have maritime clearance. Are you connecting the dots? Nolan Wells was never killed in Blackwood Bay. He was taken directly to Warren Hudson's off-the-books offshore island facility, and Warren is heading to that exact island right now to shut down the evidence before federal agents land. They thought fleeing the state would buy them time. They thought melting those server terminals would keep us in the dark. But they made one catastrophe-level mistake that will destroy their cover-up at dawn.
To skip over the fact that the timing was strategic in them putting out the interview of Warren Hudson, who is one of the boys who was on the boat that day with Nolan Wells, and just so happens to be the son or the stepson, whatever, of Judge Ashley Cole. It is no coincidence that on the day that Ben Crump announced that the independent autopsy results were going to be made available, that this interview came out. I also just want to point out that in Ashley Cole's original statement, she said that the reason she deactivated their social media was because we live in an age of clickbait. And so with that in mind, you decided that a day after Nolan Wells' funeral and a day before the independent autopsy results were released was a good time for you to put out an interview that is clickbaity. There was also another friend whose name is Lucas Avis, I believe. And according to him, Nolan Wells was so inebriated that he was slurring his words, which is ironic because Warren Hudson has the exact opposite account of what he saw from Nolan Wells that day. He said that he was fine. Now, again, let me remind you that Warren Hudson's mother, stepmother, whatever she is a judge. So she understands the importance of creating reasonable doubt in an investigation or a case like this, should it go to trial and criminal charges are brought up against her son, stepson, and his friends. The timing is not a coincidence.
Before Warren's engineers fried the server room, they forgot about the secondary backup node connected to Nolan's intern account. That node is scheduled to automatically publish the raw, unredacted Sector 9 island coordinates to a public server in less than 2 hours. Is Nolan Wells still alive inside that offshore facility? Will the leaked coordinates allow federal marshals to raid the island before Warren arrives? And what happens when Part 2 drops the very second that Cloud Drive unlocks at sunrise? We are tracking that public cloud timer in real time and going live the exact second that secondary backup node unlocks the Sector 9 island coordinates at sunrise. Do you believe Nolan Wells is still alive inside that offshore black site, or is Warren Hudson setting a deadly trap for federal marshals? Drop your wild theories in the comments below. I'm responding to every single one for the next hour. If you want the unedited truth before federal injunctions force us off the air, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn